Hey everyone and welcome back. So in today's video we'll be discussing about the watches in console. Now the watches feature in console checks for changes that are being made to the console key value store. So when an update is detected, an external handler can be invoked. So let's quickly understand this with a simple diagram where you have a console server and you have the watch over here. So the watch basically says to the console server, let me know whenever a specific key is updated. So in this case, the key is max underscore mem. So now what will happen is whenever the key is updated, the watch functionality will know. So here you see watch functionality is able to detect that the key was updated to 1024M. Now as soon as the key was updated to 1024M, the watch feature in turn can go ahead and call the external handler. So this external handler can be anything. It can also be a script, and this script can detect the changes and it can perform a specific action depending upon the use case. So let's do one thing. Let's quickly jump into practical so that this can be better understood. Now within the GUI under key value, let's go ahead and create a new key. Let's call it as max mem, and the value I'll call it as 512 MB. Now from the console02 instance, which is acting as a console client, let's run console watch. The type, in this case we want to monitor a key, and the actual key is max underscore mem. So here it has basically given us the value. Now again, this value is in base 64, so you'll not be able to see it directly in a plain text. So you have to do a base 64 decode. So let me also show you that. So let's quickly do a echo and I'll do a base 64 decode. And here you see you're able to see 512 MB in plain text. So at this stage, things are very simple because this you can also achieve with a vault kv get command. So what is the specialty of the watch? So now let's look into it. Now in the second point here, we basically discussed that when an update is detected, an external handler can be invoked. So this watch can be integrated with an external handler. In today's example, we'll be using a script. So to demonstrate that, let's quickly do one thing. I'll go ahead and create a new directory called as temp console. Let's quickly go to this directory and let's create a new script with the name of myscript.sh. So for today's example, we'll be making use of a simple script over here. So you have a while loop which reads some data and it echoes back the same data here. So let's copy this up and I'll paste it. Once done, let's also add an executable bit here. That's great. So once this script is ready, the next thing is to integrate this watch functionality with our script. So this is very simple. So we'll be making use of the same console watch command here. And the only thing is you have to specify the myscript.sh file over here. So now at this stage, it is giving you the current value. However, it is also waiting for the new value over here. So let's go ahead and update the value here. Let's update to 1024 MB. I'll do a save, and as soon as you did that, you see you got the updated value over here. So let's do a control C. So unless and until you do a control C, it will keep on watching for the new updates. So let's also verify the data. I'll quickly do a base 64 decode over here, and as expected you are seeing a 1024 MB here. So I hope at a high level overview you understood the basic functionality of watch. Now few more important part to remember is that watch functionality can watch for wide variety of resources. These include key, key prefixes, services, nodes, checks, as well as events. So depending upon what you want to achieve, you can go ahead and monitor things accordingly. So let's take one example here. So let's say that you want to monitor the checks which are in the critical stage. So you can go ahead and do a console watch. As expected, the type here changes. So earlier we had made use of a type of key. However, this time we make use of type of checks and the state will give it as critical. So let's copy this up. So within the output here, you see that there are no checks which are in the critical state. So now within the console we have one of the services of web that is running, which also has a health check that is associated with it. So let me go ahead and stop the Nginx, through which the health check should also fail. So now you see the health checks are failing. So let's do a console watch yet again, and now you see that there is one health check which has a status of critical. You're also seeing the output. The output is failed to connect on port 80 and it is connection refused. Now along with that, it also gives you the node name where this specific check is failing. Now as we are discussing that you can integrate the script along with watch. So what I have seen in lot of organizations they do is they integrate this with Slack. So whenever there is some checks which are in the critical state, this script which is invoked with watch, this script will go ahead and create a message within the Slack channel stating the information about the node, the status of the check which is critical, and also the data or the output of the check. So from the Slack channel itself, you can quickly identify what checks are failing and in which node. So this is one of the quick ways to do that. Now you can also integrate it with the email. So whenever a check is within the critical condition, you will quickly get an email here. So that can be achieved with the help of watch and your custom script. That's great. So I hope at a high level overview, you understood the functionality of watch in console.